Okay, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to just ask during it. Terminology that I say might be different terminology that you've used before. So if you're worried, just ask and I'll clarify something for you. But moving ahead. Intersafe. Intersafe is an Australian company specialising in areas of safety, economic design, implementation and evaluation. At Sunwater here, we've engaged them to do an assessment of the water distribution system in South Bank with respect to human and gravitational energy risks, i.e. going to hurt yourself. And it was assessed that the risks were too high, and this project has been created to alleviate the risks. Here's the project life cycle. Again, terminology here is slightly different. We use planning stage, design, implementation, and well, close out. And there's an extra one here. But anyway, tonight we'll just do this one here, which is the planning section, the schedule. So here's the schedule with all its links from. Here's with the links. So we've got all our activities that we created earlier, and then we brought them across into Microsoft Project. This obviously isn't Microsoft Project, so don't worry about that too much. Again, you've got all your WBS levels. So green goes down to red. Now this is expanded out, and then the bottom one's down here. This is without the links. We'll have a look at these ones here. It's been closed, so it all fits on a page basically. And that's what it looks like expanded out. Obviously it doesn't go boom like that on your screen, but it looks more like the rest of it here. While we're here, we'll have a look at PERT analysis. Now, PERT analysis, we just assess activities. What are they going to be? Are they going to be, their duration, basically. We look at the optimum time we would like it to be done in, the realistic time, and, the sort of pessimistic sort of duration. We did the assessment that these activities here, which are installing of gate components such as walkways, handrails, non-actual gates being put into the channels. We assessed that a team of 2, they could do at least 3 to 4 per day of these sites. So we've just basically made them start to start is one of the activity joining each other. So we just simply made them start to start, so when one starts, the other one can start. So basically these are one-day activities, and we're hoping that all 3 of them will be done in that one day. They'll come back the next day and move on to the next 3. This here is not a lag, it's actually the weekend. Government don't work weekends, so we get that off. And then down the bottom we have another milestone. So we have I usually like to put a milestone at the start of sort of a section and finish it up at the end as well, so that you only have to link one activity milestone or the other activities to that one milestone, opposing all these different activities to different ones. Next up, we'll have a look at inside here, which is the actual gated sites. These are the ones where they're actually putting a gate. Inside these activities, we have little things called steps. And in here, this is what tells us what's actually being installed. So in this instance, there's 2 flap gates being installed, a walkway and a handrail. The beauty of this software that I have here is that you can add a bit of weighting. So if you've got an activity that lasts, say, for a week, or actually we'll pick one that goes for a month. When it comes to doing percent completed each week, you can't theoretically always just go, oh, okay, it's been a week, therefore we're a quarter of the way through. With the step weighting, it adds up to 100. So if, for instance, we install one gate 1 week, the project's actually 35% complete. If we'd only installed one of the walkways, then it's only 15%. But if in the first week we install 2 gates, then it's actually 70% complete. So it helps us build the actual the right percent complete of an activity. And this is what the actual gates that I'm talking about. So this here is all the flap gates here with the handrails, walkways. So what they're basically doing is going in and replacing these handrails and walkways, and in some cases they're actually replacing the gates that are in there. So these are getting manufactured, coming out, and they're installing that. So that's why these ones will take a little bit longer to be done. Let's go through the phases. Phase 1, the concept phase. As you can see, there's not a lot of activities in there, but in the concept we've included all the little tender documents and so forth that go out The procurement is basically doing all the tendering. They're helping create the actual tender document that gets sent out. They do all the analysis of, along with the project manager, to determine who actually wins the bid to do this work for us. Next up, actually have the activities. It's just a key basically. There's only two missing, which is the baseline. I'll show you them in a second. So basically, you've got level of effort activity, which does everyone know what that is? Okay, level of effort activity is basically you give it a block of time to be done, and it's going to be done in that time basically. So it helps spread out your costs and your duration of hours and so forth like that. So if you've got 40 hours of work to be done on a project, and you've got 4 weeks or so to do it, that spread out is actually about 10 hours per week on that activity. Whereas in real life it might actually be you might do 20 hours in 1 week, might not do anything for 2 weeks, and then you'll do another 20 hours in the last. But this level of effort actually just helps you just spread it all out. And then obviously the other one's self-explanatory. Phase 2. We have a lot more activities, obviously, because this is sort of the key bit, the next bit into also a bit of planning gets done in that concept phase, but in the design you can also do some more as well. Down here we'll have a look at actually some activity types. We've got down here, this is our lead item. So we've got basically drafting of the gated sites and components being done. Partway through, obviously, the screen sites, the sites that actually require a screen, that stuff can actually go off to be fabricated. It's being done by an independent person. Whereas the next activity along, that's the remaining of the gated sites. So all this sort of stuff can be done here. So we put in a lead of about 2 weeks, I think it is in this instance. Yeah. So 2 weeks after the drafting's commenced, we assume that they would have actually finished those sites or those drafting for that, so then they actually go off to the fabricators and they can fabricate the screens for us. Next up, we have lag. Back up in the gated sites, we have fabrication. We usually give them, say, 2 weeks, I think it is. Yep, 2 weeks time to deliver them to us here in Brisbane. So because they're coming out from Melbourne, so you give them 2 weeks. So we leave it a lag of 2 weeks. So even if the actual fabrication gets pushed out, the date of delivery gets pushed out as well. Same with the delivery of sites. We allow another week from the site being from the depot to the actual site. And the last one here is a notification. So the notification is you actually need to send out a letter to the people that use the water saying we're actually closing the channel down, so you won't be able to get any water. This requires 4 weeks notice. So what I've done here is put in a lag of 20 days, being 4 weeks, and then made this sort of milestone actually as late as possible. So if this date here is pushed out, then this date will follow it as well automatically. So this is actually the driving milestone for this activity here, due to it being as late as possible. So if that's pushed out by 2 weeks, that moves along as well because it is as late as possible. Phase 3. Basically, it's sort of the implementation. So this is where all the installation of all the gated sites and components is being done. Project management is sort of conducted throughout the whole project, but I've included it here in this implementation because that's when it's mostly being done, because you'll have other people coming in to do site supervisions, because obviously contractors can't just go onto a government site and just go about their business. So that's the implementation phase. And then finalisation. So we look at once it's all been installed, we'll do a commissioning of the sites, making sure they all run. They'll do a week-long activity of actually doing a report, making sure that they all are done, and then we'll go into the closeout of the project, closing down, making sure the financials are done, all the documentation's done, lessons learnt, and any other registers that we have to sort of update. And then we go into, this is the baseline. So here's our project, and we put in our baseline. As you notice, there's a little yellow dot underneath the milestones. That's the milestone baseline. Underneath each one of these activities, there's also, a bit hard to see here, but there's a yellow bar underneath each one of these activities, and that there is the the baseline for that activity.